Technology, man. You gotta love it.
My gosh, so much technology.
Stretch, you see the hoodies, huh? The hoodie gang, man. You gotta get your hoodie gang up, man.
You gotta get your WNBA merch. It's
That's right.
Hot on the shelves.
I saw you rocking it, so I was like, I had to go ahead and order me one.
I mean,
well, the wife wasn't even mad. She was like, go ahead.
I mean, who wouldn't want this hoodie? It's amazing, right?
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'll just kind of introduce you, and kind of what I really want to talk about is your journey. Basically, I guess most people that are going to be viewing in are going to be anywhere from middle school, high school, or even college. So we're just going to kind of go through the whole line. Guys that are in here, feel free. You can ask any questions in the comments. Probably the easiest thing is to click the little question box at the bottom. We can kind of go through there, and we'll just ping pong it back and forth. Free to go. All right, so we got Theresa Plaisance with us, current WNBA player with the Connecticut Suns, played in the WNBA Finals most recently. She's born and raised from Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana at that. Shout out to the West Bank. She played high school basketball at Ursuline Academy, and then also whenever her mom got the job at Nichols, she went over to Vanderbilt Catholic. She was two-time Gatorade Player of the Year, McDonald's All-American, played for Team USA, got the gold medal in the FIBA. She transferred that, leapfrogged that into a career at LSU, where she also had a great career there. Multiple-time All-SEC, John Wooden watch list. And then, of course, she was drafted to the WNBA, where you just finished your sixth season. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just finished. Yep, finished my sixth.
Finished her sixth season, and she also plays overseas. So I kind of introduced you a little bit. You can kind of piggyback off of that, or we can kind of start with the first question, which is, when did you first start playing basketball?
Yeah, I can jump right into that. So I first started playing basketball. Actually, the day I was born, I had a basketball in my hospital room. So that was when I got my first basketball. And I started playing basketball, as early as I can remember. I had a kids goal at my house, and I started playing organized basketball probably around the age of 5 or 6 or so. And I played with the bigger kids, and at that time I was like too timid to even like catch the ball, much less do anything with it. So my career has blossomed a little bit since then, thank God. So yeah, I started playing basketball probably around 4 or 5, and a little bit more organized around 6 or 7.
So, being from Louisiana, born and raised, and you played high school basketball, like we said, at Ursuline, and then you transitioned in the middle of your high school career. How was that, just picking up shop and moving an hour away and going to school at a whole nother high school?
So it was definitely a unique experience for me, because I went to a co-ed school up until 6th grade, 7th grade to 10th grade. I went to an all-girls school, and then transferring back to a co-ed school was quite different. Boys in the mix were a little bit more rowdy, a lot more energy, stuff like that. So being outside of my comfort zone and going to another school was a challenge at first, but everybody there welcomed me with open arms, and I kept in touch with my friends at high school as much as I could. It was a good experience at both schools. I had a really great time, and I have nothing but good things to say about both of them.
So we got a question popped up. Again, anybody that's jumping in, feel free. You can ask a question in the comments, or you can ask a question with the little question box at the bottom. How old were you when you could first palm a basketball?
Oh, that's a really good question. Let me think. I think I could palm a basketball probably around the age of 11 or 12.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And my mom missed it. Actually, my mom missed the first time I dunked and the first time I palmed the basketball.
What?
Yes.
You don't let her live that down, huh?
No, she was in the middle of a conversation, and I was just goofing off at halftime in one of our games. Literally, everyone in the whole gym saw it besides my mom, and I turned around. The only person that I cared to see it did not see it, and I was just like, she's not going to believe it. Everybody here saw it, but she will not believe the fact that I just did that.
Oh, man, that's awesome. I love it. No way your mom was talking at halftime. Like, she was actually,
could you believe it?
Man, that's crazy.
Do be in the conversation would be
no way.
Yes.
Oh, man. So we talked a lot with we had KK Board and Kennedy Jackson on earlier. We talked about a lot with the recruiting process. So again, a lot of these girls are in middle school, kind of upper middle school. high school and even college.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are looking for advice. Can you think back to like your recruiting process in general? Of course, like I said, you were a McDonald's All-American, played on Team USA. You had, I'm sure, a lot of people are after you. Can you kind of talk about that in general?
My parents would probably know more about my first couple of days of the recruiting process, but from what I'm told, there was like 3 like crates full of mail on my first day of getting letters. And, as my mom being a coach, I was always told to be respectful and, give everybody their shot. So I filled out every single questionnaire that was sent to me. I was very respectful, and if there was a coach that wanted to talk to me, I wanted to have a conversation with them. I was honest with them. I was like, yeah, I'm interested in your school. If I wasn't interested, then, hey, Katie. If I wasn't interested, then, I was straight up with them, and I told them, hey, like, I don't want you to waste your time with me. I'm looking elsewhere. I think coming from, a coach's perspective, I know it's a hard conversation to have, but they have other things that they need to do too. And from my point of view, I didn't want to waste anybody's time, but I was respectful of everybody, filled out all my questionnaires. I did not get a letter from my mom, unfortunately. My mom did not recruit me. And that was strategic, but she taught me a lot about the recruiting process and how to handle it, and I couldn't have done it any better without my mom. So
that's shout out. I like that.
Shout out, Big Dude.
I'm at to clip that and send that to her.
Yeah.
She'll probably start crying instantly.
Instant tears.
Oh man, so we got another question here, and we'll jump back. How would you describe the LSU workouts and the WNBA workouts
compared to one another? So this is the thing. Once you make it to the pros, you don't have to worry about 6 a.m.s anymore. So my training regimen, I wouldn't say is easier, but it's not the same training that I was doing in college. In college, it was a gut check every single day. You were digging deep. You were going through workouts, running, weightlifting. Your mentality had to be, oh, I'm going to get through this workout or I'm going to die. Like, you just had to do it. And, in the pro days, you do more. Since we play year-round, I do a lot more of stability work, just maintaining what I have. I'm not looking to, like, build anything. I'm not looking to push my body any harder than I'm pushing it already. But just doing some maintenance and maintaining good health is definitely important in my weight training and my training nowadays compared to in college when, you really just have to put it all out there.
For sure. And that kind of leads me to a question I had a little later. We'll go ahead and jump into it now. What's the difference between playing professionally in America, playing professionally overseas? I know you and I talked about a little off camera and like how crazy it is. They'll go 2-a-days, and you said it'll be the same practice that it was in the AM that it is in the PM. Like, can you kind of talk a little about that?
Well, the WNBA is, the best league in the world when it comes to women's basketball. So the competition level in that league in comparison to, all the other leagues in the world is by far head and shoulders above the rest. But second, it would probably be EuroLeague. And there's a lot of strong individual countries that have really good leagues as well. And I would probably say the main difference, besides the language barrier, that's obviously huge, unless you're playing in Australia or England or something like that, where the English is the same as ours, but would probably be just like learning to live in other cultures. In China, I've played in China for the past 2 seasons, and at dinner time, you have to wait for all your teammates and your coaches. We eat at the same time. We come to the table, we eat dinner together, and they eat dinner like at a lazy Susan. So the food goes around, and you take what you want, and you put it in your plate like that. So it's family style. I'm not used to that. I have my own food and my own plate. So there's a lot of things you have to get used to. As well as that, you really have to prepare your mind, because a lot like what we're doing now in quarantine, that's what it feels like to play overseas. This quarantine hasn't really been much of a challenge for me, and I'm sure like a lot of the WNBA players that are used to the overseas life, because this is what we do, minus being able to wake up and go to practice twice a day. So, you
that's
have
pretty
to really,
cool. Yeah.
you have to find ways to engage your mind, and whether that's books or TV shows or movies or waiting till your family wakes up because of the time difference. You know what time your family's waking up, because every day it's the same routine. You're doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, that's got to be a challenge, especially like year one, being away from everyone. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sure it relates back to the first time as a freshman in college, like, but even to a whole nother, even extreme, really, more than
Yeah.
anything. We got another question. How was the process of getting traded? So, for those of you who don't know, she played with the Wings and she was traded mid-season last year. How was the process, and how did you find out you were traded?
I found out. I woke up in the morning. I did my normal routine and got dressed. Went to practice. Got treatment. Got dressed for practice. Put on my practice uniform. I was about to walk out in the court, and I checked my phone one last time, and I had a text message from the general manager, and he said, "We want to meet with you before practice." And I obviously knew what that meant. It was the day of the trade deadline. And I was like, "This is probably it." So I didn't go out on the court. I had a meeting with my coach and my general manager. They've then told me that I was traded to the Connecticut Sun, a team that was been wanting me for since my free agency. Really, they tried to get me in my free agency, and I chose to go to Dallas. But um, after that, I was told I was traded, I went back straight to my apartment. I packed up about 5 years worth of stuff that I've just been piling on top of one another, and I got on a plane the next morning at 4 a.m., flew home to New Orleans, dropped off Chip and one of my bags, and took another flight to Minnesota, met my team in Minnesota. And, ever since the moment I walked out of that Dallas gym, I knew I was a part of Connecticut, and I was excited about what my future was holding.
That's awesome.
And being traded to one of the top teams in the league, um, and coming from the grind that we were going through as one of the bottom teams in the league in Dallas, it was kind of a weight lifted off your shoulders knowing that I was going to an environment like that. And, just being in the locker room for the first time and everyone being so welcoming, and just the overall feeling in that locker room. Like when you have a team that understands itself, it's a different feeling in the locker room. So the feeling of maturity was there, and they welcomed me right in with open arms. And from then on, I never really looked back, and I'm just playing for the team that wants me.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool
Yeah.
experience. And you went from two different ends of the spectrum, team wise and role wise on each team. From where y'all were, you were more of a veteran. Y'all had a ton of young rookies and stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
where now you're trying to kind of fill in to some older people and people at your age and everything like that. That's got to be a cool adjustment for sure, but very exciting.
Yeah. Some stretching, and then you would get out of there, and it was more mental prep. We already knew what we needed to do on the court. It was just mentally prepping for our game. And I like the mentality that they carry in Connecticut, and it was really nice to be able to be a part of that.
Cool. Side question: we got somebody asked, how can we watch your games, whether you're in China or wherever? Is there anywhere that we can watch your games when you're overseas?
Most leagues do have a live watch. It comes on YouTube. They stream it live on YouTube with EuroLeague and EuroCup and some of the bigger leagues. I think Spain has a link, and Italy has links, and Turkey and Russia, they all have links that you can watch the games through. But China does not have a live feed, so there's no way to watch my games in China until after, if you have the floppy disk that I have, or the disk drive, whatever they call it these days. Yeah, there's no way to watch it overseas, but a way to watch in the WNBA is you can watch every single game being played on the WNBA app. You can get the live stream, and every single game you can watch. I think it's like $15 for the whole season, every single game, every single team. So that's a really good way to get involved in the WNBA and be able to watch high-level women's basketball.
For sure. Another question: what makes your skill set so unique?
The fact that I'm 6'5" and I can shoot the three ball really is something that, the younger generation is starting to catch on to. You're starting to see less of like the true centers and more of the stretch centers like myself. It just gives your offense another look, being able to draw a post player out and have some less paint crowding and rim protection at the rim. Being able to draw somebody like Brittney Griner or Liz Cambage or Kalani Brown out to the 3-point line is, it makes a better look for guards trying to get to the basket or post up for other people. So the stretch five is definitely a piece of the basketball game that you're starting to see more of these days. And I feel like that's where my skill set falls into.
For sure. Pace and space is definitely the name of the game right now.
Pace and space. Pace and space.
Let's see. So we answered the question about the workouts. Who are the hardest players you faced at the different levels, high school, college, and in the pros?
Ooh. Well, in high school, I remember playing against St. Michael's a lot. St. Michael's was really strong, and they had a lot of D1 players on that team. I think maybe 3 or 4 of them went D1, including my teammate Jean Kenny and KK Babin, who played for my mom at Nichols and had a really great career there, as well as a few other players that are a little bit older. But there was a championship team that they played, and that was probably one of the toughest games I've ever played. And it was also the game that we lost the state championship with. So that was probably the toughest game as far as player wise. In AAU, we played against everybody: Chanae Gumake, Stephanie Dolson, Alyssa Thomas. AAU, all the WNBA players were, our age, and were playing in the top tournaments that we were playing in. So, there was a big battle in the high school game. And
that was back with the Bells, huh?
The Bells and the Dominoes, yeah. The good old days back then.
Yeah, for sure.
And then college. Man, I feel like I've had some battles with quite a few people in college. Tennessee was always a big game for us. It was a rivalry game. Isabel Harrison, who's now one of my really good friends, she was pretty tough to play against. Glory Johnson, another Tennessee grad, really tough Glory's probably the toughest because you were just nervous about her agility and where her elbows were going. Yeah, she might dunk on you. Glory is definitely one of the toughest I played against in college, consistently. And then the pro, I don't think you can name one. I think it's a battle every single night. You're not going to step into a game and not expect that someone's going to go at your throat. So in the pro game, I just feel like there's some really great players, and just to pick one would be almost impossible to do.
No doubt, man. It's the league's so tough, and the people stay in there, and it's so hard to get in. So it's like, it's weird because you see it all the time. Like, first-round draft picks don't even, like, SEC, whoever leads the score in the SEC is not guaranteed to get in. So It's a tough league to get into, and much less stay in. So props to you being a vet now with 6 years, man. That's big time. Let's jump back to kind of the recruiting process before we get to some more questions. Is there any advice you would give to the high school, middle school kids, when they're going through this recruiting process? Anything you have done differently, maybe? Like I said, like you had said already, you did a great job of communication. That's probably the biggest thing that I took from what you said earlier. Is there anything that you would have done differently, or why'd you pick LSU?
I don't think there's anything I would have done differently. I was very thorough in my recruiting process, and I had my mind made up as to what I was looking for in a university, and I narrowed it down to 6 pretty quickly. And I went on my visits, and I really enjoyed every single aspect. And I went home and I wrote down a list of pros and cons. And, LSU sat at the top of that list. I had a lot of really amazing universities offering me a scholarship, and it was a really hard decision. And so my advice to anybody that's going through the recruiting process is make the best decision for you. You're the one that's going to be there for 4 years. So you need to be able to enjoy your time there. And, my mom through the recruiting process, obviously she knows what it's like. She's a coach. She has to go through the recruiting process yearly from the other side. And my mom never once gave me her opinion on what was best for me, which I'm sure was hard for her, knowing like her expertise and what she knows about women's college basketball. But me being able to go into universities with a clear mind and really having a clean slate, and me trying to picture myself at these universities was something that I had to do. And, LSU just ended up being the right fit for me. And on top of that, my family is, a priority, a really high priority for me.
That's cool.
My grandparents never missed a single game. My Papa Ray made every single one of my home games. And honestly, you can't match that in comparison to everything else I loved about my university. But just the fact that my grandpa could make every single game and my mama was right behind him, like barely missed anything.
That's
So it
awesome.
was really nice to have my family there. Yeah.
You touched on a great point, man. I like we talked about, like your mom has all the expertise, all the experience for sure, and
Yeah.
she bit her tongue. She held her tongue. She knew at the end of the day she wasn't going to be there at that 6 a.m. workout. She was going to be there at all those classes and everything. So
Yeah.
she kind of really let you make the decision whenever. She could have easily swayed you one way or the other,
Most
no matter how
definitely.
much influence she had on you, you know.
Most
And at the end
definitely.
of the day, like you got to live that decision. In the world we live in now, where we got people that can influence a lot of people, I think that's a great point for sure.
Yeah, and there was honestly a lot of universities that I really enjoyed and I could see myself at. It was a really tough decision. I had some really great coaching staffs and some really amazing campuses, and you just have to sit there and you have to think. It's not a light decision, and your next 4 years are really looking at that. But I thought I made a good decision. LSU stayed at home, and I'm happy, and I ended up where I wanted to be, post basketball, post college career. So it
For
all
sure.
worked out.
Got a cool little question there. What do you think about your son's fans? I haven't got a chance to go up there and watch a game, but it looks like they're always packed. What kind of impact do they have in keeping you all hyped up for a game?
The Sun fans, I can tell you, are the best in the league. I've played a lot of basketball in the WNBA, and there's not many times that I've seen fans show up to games the way that the Connecticut fans consistently show up to games. The Connecticut Suns fans are amazing. They're loud, they're rowdy, they keep us in the game. Through the finals, they really helped us rally to get that fifth game, going back to DC. So I love our fans. They're so supportive, and we couldn't do what we do without the love and support of our fans. So all my appreciation goes to them, and there's really no matching some fans.
No doubt, no doubt. Just
The Sun fans really pack it out.
we got a cool question again from a coach. What can I do as a coach to help advocate for the women's basketball, for the women's game?
I think that's a really good question. As a coach, what you can do is just help your girls. I don't know what age you're coaching. Help your girls, help your
High
women.
school. He's high school girls.
High school. Just help your girls grow as much as they can under you, and not just in basketball and discipline and just preparing, for the future. Being able to play at high school, you need to have fundamentals, but you also need to know how to show up on time, how to do all the right things, how to make sure that, yeah, you're playing basketball and you love your sport and you're determined to, get better at your sport, but you also need to set time aside, adequate time aside for your schoolwork and everything else and your other responsibilities. So just enforcing, the little things, because the little things make a big difference.
And I'll add to that, man. Like we got to do a better job as coaches and high school in general, and going to games. Like you can go to LSU game for free. Just reach out to them; they'll let you go. Tulane for free. Dallas Wings game whenever you're at AAU tournaments and everything. Like go to games, watch games, challenge your kids to watch games. Like you already talked about with the WNBA League Pass. Like challenge your kids. Like let's have a party. Let's sit down and watch games. Like we got to do a better job of watching basketball.
And another thing I'd like to add to that is, if you're coaching women, show your girls that women can be successful too. Show women being successful at what they do best. Show Serena Clip, show Diana Taurasi, show Elena Deladon, Brianna Stewart. There's so many really great women's basketball players that, when little girls sit there and they say, and nothing, not taking away anything from the men's game, but having a men's player as their best player, maybe because they haven't been, involved in women's, the WNBA yet. Show them people that look like her to help her grow her game so she sees someone that she can aspire to be when she gets older.
Great point. Great point. I want to take it back to, again, another question I had. It's kind of with the, I don't know if you know, but in about a week or two, NCAA is going to vote on a transfer rule to where they're going to either allow people to transfer right away. There we go. So they're going to vote on the rule to allow transfers to transfer and play right away. I know you had, a great high school career, McDonald's All-American, 2-time Gatorade Player of the Year, Team USA, but when you got to LSU, freshman year, came off the bench. Sophomore year, came off the bench. Can you kind of express that and explain that to the kids and people watching in general, kind of that experience?
Yeah, so, I was one of the top players in the country coming out of high school, and I wasn't bad at McDonald's All-American, all this stuff. So showing up to college and riding the bench for 2 years was, a wake-up call. It was kind of a shot in the gut, and it was a gut check. And, me having to wake up one morning and, decide that I'm going to make a difference for myself. And on top of that, having some older players graduate created an opportunity for me. And what I would say is just always be ready for your opportunity. You never know when it's going to come. And, my opportunity came, and I had 2 years to get something that I thought I was going to have 4 to do. But that wasn't my journey, and just being patient and, doing what I love to do in my 2 years ended up being enough for me to play at the next level, which is something that I've always dreamed to do. So, just like working hard and staying focused at your traits and your game, and, you can make it even though it's not like the prettiest route.
No doubt. Everyone's got their own little route for sure. Everyone's got their own path. So someone had another great question. Can you talk about the transition period? Of course, we just talked about the transition from high school to college, where it was tough at times, but hey, like you said, you're always trying to be ready. That was your mindset, always trying to be ready. Can you talk about the transition from college to the WNBA or overseas?
Yeah, so the transition from college to the program was really hard for me. When I first showed up, I'm not even going to lie to you, the game was so fast I could barely see the ball move. When I tell you the ball was getting skipped around, and it was hard for me to follow. And also being on the court, I was just falling down everywhere because everybody was so much faster and so much stronger. So it was a real wake-up call when you got to the league. And, one of my good friends, Theresa, was my teammate at the time. And Courtney was tossing me around like I was, a bag of potato chips. And
2-time All-American. She was pretty good too.
Yeah, Courtney wasn't a bad player, So Theresa coming in and, going against her every single day, really makes you a better player. You have to really learn fast. And, my opportunity to grow through, my experience, my younger years in the league is something that really set me up for where I am now. From my headspace to my body to how I play, just everything and all around development in my game was, contributed to what you had to learn very quickly, because as competitive as the college game is, it's even more so in the WNBA.
Yeah, and I think another part to that, man, you've done a great job of mentoring people younger than you. Anytime you can kind of take somebody under your wing, of course, or whenever you can go under someone's wing, I feel like Courtney really kind of looked out for you, especially your first year in, and that goes a long, long ways. And I would advise anybody, if you got an opportunity to do that, to either get mentored or be a mentoree, goes a long ways.
Yeah, Courtney definitely helped me grow my first couple years in the league, and as a professional, as a person, and she's a really great friend. Hey, what's up, Xavier?
Let's see. What's your favorite post move?
Oh, my favorite post move would have to be the Sigma move. I was taught that one at a very young age. And
you might have to explain that to us.
Okay.
I think only your mom really.
Big Dubes refers to this as the Sigma move, and she was one that taught me this move, but it's pretty much just a reverse pivot, face-up shot, and I have some counter moves out of that, but I would have to say that's one of my favorite moves.
Cool. And we got another question. Again, guys, we'll be here for about another 3, 4, 5 minutes. If you got any questions, feel free. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Another question. Who's your favorite person to match up with in the WNBA? I think I know, but I'll see my guess is Brittney Griner, just because I feel like y'all two get so competitive, and y'all's games is so different, but y'all both bring the best out of each other.
Yeah, I would say Brittney Griner. She's a competitor. She has such a really great game now. She can shoot mid-range and, even 7 out to the three-point line. And so playing against her and her size and her ability at the rim and defensively being able to have to adjust, being that she's so long right in front of you, she's definitely a challenge to play against, and I really do enjoy going at it with her. She's a really cool person to play against, and we go at it sometimes, but it's all love afterwards. So Brittney Griner would definitely be one of my favorite people to play against.
No doubt. We don't have very many. WNBA wise, got to go all the way to Atlanta, all the way to Dallas. Can you kind of explain? And I don't even know if really Dallas you get the full atmosphere. Can you kind of explain how it was playing in the WNBA Finals, like the atmosphere there, and it was just such a high level of basketball, and like I felt like someone was going to score every single time down the court. It blew my mind.
Well, the Dallas fans were absolutely amazing as well. Always showing love. Connecticut fans, amazing. But when we went to the finals, the atmosphere of a WNBA Finals was unmatched. The way that I felt going to that game, it was unlike I felt going into any other game. You just like feel the intensity, you feel the energy, you feel everyone feeding off of one another, whether it's the crowd or your opponent or just the referees. I feel like everybody's so intense because it's like this is it. This is what we've been working all year for. That atmosphere is definitely unmatched. I don't know if I have words for it. But it was definitely an exciting time.
Fun experience for sure. And I was just
so fun. And you made it. You made it.
I was just sitting there, man. That was so much fun. Coach Chad, he's in there. He came down there with me, man. That was so much fun. We were in and out in like 36 hours in DC, and it was a blast, man. It was so much fun.
It was.
Got another question. Someone asked. I don't even know if you can really talk about it, but the changes that have happened in the WNBA with the new collective bargaining agreement. Can you talk about that any or?
Yeah, so we just got a new collective bargaining agreement. It provided more money for players. It provided better traveling circumstances and just hotel rooms. Some of our accommodations went up as well. And so it also provided a lot of movement for the league and free agency, which is probably the thing that I was most excited to see coming into this season, to see how this free agency played out. There was a lot of movement, a lot of big players changing teams, and it's going to be a very, very, very competitive league this year. And I think we're all excited to see how this league plays out. The CBA was really good. It's definitely a huge step in the right direction to where we want to be, and there's nothing more I can say. It's really great for us.
That's awesome. Definitely was excited to see that, man. A lot of people don't realize, WNBA is still a young league. Like the NBA's been around for a long time. Even when you think back, like you see the Last Dance coming on, and people are posting like Scottie Pippen's salary and all that stuff, like compared to what everyone else has now. Like this came a long ways just in those years, and that's 20 years. And think back to the Larry Birds and all those. Like we're still young. Like the WNBA is young. Like we talked about before on the front side of it. Like we just got to get out and watch more games and keep continuing to grow our game in general.
Definitely.
Someone asked about like comparing college and WNBA. Like what's some benefits of both? What's like the most exciting thing of each of them? How are they different?
Okay. From college, in college, you got to choose where you wanted to go. So when I went to LSU, I was very prideful of my university, and being chosen in the draft was something that it's very humbling. You feel like, because there's nothing I can say, there's nothing more that I can do after my season's over. I have to let my game speak for itself. So being drafted was definitely a humbling experience. It makes you feel like somebody has appreciated your game over, the amount of time that you've been putting in work, and that your dreams will pay off when you get drafted. And when I got drafted to the Tulsa Shock, I was beyond excited. I didn't think I'd be able to play in the WNBA after my first couple of years. And, even after having 2 great seasons, there was no guarantee that, that I'd make it to the WNBA. And when I did, I felt like it was a dream come true for me. And, it was a very exciting time in my life.
That's big time. That's got to be weird. Like you have zero control over this, and you're just sitting there all day.
You just sit and wait. For some of us, it took to the 3rd round, which is great. I love the way that I went, but it's very nerve-wracking.
For sure. I love the way that they did the draft this year. That was pretty cool. Sidebar.
Yeah, they did a really great job with the draft. As far as virtual drafts go, I feel like you couldn't have done it any better. So shout out to the WNBA and the WNBPA for that.
All right, we got a little bit of a challenge here. Looks like how many threes do you think you can make Out of 100.
Um, so
I
when
guess
I
that's
shoot on the
unguarded.
gun,
Yeah, on the
yeah,
gun.
on the gun, I think my highest percentage was 78 out of
That's not.
100.
It's not bad for a 6'5" center.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I was really excited that day. I actually took a picture of my the gun, the picture,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the percentage and everything. Yeah, I got a picture of that day somewhere.
Do you have any weird pregame or postgame rituals?
Before the game, I really like to like listen to music, clear my head, put my phone away, and
No
just let
headphones, according to your mom. No headphones. Can't have headphones.
that's a doobie rule. That's not a me rule. I like to listen to music before the game and just get my mind in a place where I need it to be game ready. And post game, I love to get a good meal.
Cool. How's Chip doing? Somebody asked how's Chip. Yeah, how is Chip doing?
My gosh, Chip is amazing. Chip is like the only person or dog, I should say. He has human tendencies, but he's like loving the quarantine. Like nobody has to leave him. He's like living his best life, laying out by my parents' pool. So
I
he's having
love
a
it.
really good time in quarantine, of course.
I love it, man. Well, Theresa, I appreciate you coming on for us, man. You want to leave us with any more, I guess, advice again? Kind of talking to the middle school, high school kids. Anything else you want to kind of leave us with?
Yeah, just if you think you can do it and you dream it and you want it bad enough, you'll do it. You'll put in the work, you'll do what it takes, and you can be getting better at any time. In quarantine right now, work on whatever you can work on. There's no excuses, just get it done, and things will pay off. And if I can do it, I'm not the fastest, I don't jump the highest, I'm not the strongest, but I work really hard. And I try to make as best decisions as I possibly can. So if you want it, you can do it. And if there's anything that I can do to help you, if you have any questions, feel free to DM me and I can help you. Yeah.
Cool, man. I appreciate it again. Guys, like you said, follow her on Instagram, reach out to her. She's a great role model. If you ever see her anywhere, she'll take some time to talk to you. Never seen her say no to a fan, takes pictures, everything. She's a great role model for our game. Again, Louisiana girl, born and raised. She's walking the footsteps of everyone's dream that everyone's trying to get. Again, Theresa, man, appreciate it for everything. If you need anything my
Of
way,
course.
let me know. Tell the family I said hello.
I will, and I love that sweatshirt, Chris.
Appreciate it. Thanks, T.
See you.